It seems I've lived half my life in Bolestznabal. That country is fantastic, and I know many individuals there. Roger Webb started it. My road stories total 500 or more, and at least 250. In America, Charles Kuralt was the soothing voice of small-town storytelling for years. He made roads feel like home and strangers like family. But beyond his kind face and soft-spoken charm was a story buried deep beneath the miles he traveled. The reality wasn't heartwarming when it came out. It was darker, sadder, and way more difficult. Charlie Kuralt, who told others stories, had been quietly living his own. His hidden secret was worse than anyone expected. The sweet voice that touched America. Reading this, you undoubtedly feel something when you hear Charles Kuralt. You may recall his calm TV voice or ability to make ordinary stories memorable. Kuralt traveled dusty back roads for years, uniting Americans with his stories and grin. If you haven't heard of him, prepare to meet one of the world's kindest storytellers. Charles Kuralt was a journalist, traveler, listener, and beauty seeker. Kuralt searched small villages for happiness in a time of bad news, finding goodness behind ordinary doors. He began his quest at America's difficult time. It was a chaotic nation. World devastation was imminent after the Cuban Missile Crisis. Assassinations targeted important persons. John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., and Bobby Kennedy. The civil rights movement was driven by bravery and hardship. Kent State University students protesting the Vietnam War were shot. The nation looks weary and divided. Despite the hubbub, Kuralt heard a strange sound. Restaurant laughing filled his ears. He saw kindness at a crossroads. He saw people who waved to strangers, gave them coffee, and believed compassion was still vital. Kuralt filmed hopeful stories while the country was in anarchy. He traveled the country for CBS's On the Road series for over 2 decades, showing America's calmer, more serene side. It had lovely, real people, and he went to all 50 states to collect over 600 anecdotes of regular Americans. Self-image was greatly influenced by these stories. Kuralt found a retired North Carolina priest who fixed bicycles for poor youngsters in one episode. He told the story of a Mississippi sharecropper who sent all 8 of his children to college despite poverty. Although unknown or poor, Kuralt considered these people heroes for quietly and steadily improving the world. He believed that true heroes were everyday individuals who did the right thing because it was right, not celebrities or celebrities. His stories were about generosity and courage, not celebrity. With his soothing voice and genuine interest, he seemingly showed viewers a fresh side of America. Kuralt's abilities went beyond storytelling. He possessed a caring and deep awareness of the universe. He noticed nuances others missed. While others saw routine events, he sensed importance. Kuralt made a farmer fixing a fence, a determined teacher, or an elderly man building a bridge wonderful images of the human spirit. His siblings said you must witness Charles's generosity to know him. Charles wrote about people because he loved them, respected their trials, and admired their bravery. He told stories to show his trust in people's kindness, even in hard circumstances. He felt comfortable on lesser-known American routes. He thought the folks he met were polite and positive. Goodness drove them, not selfishness or arrogance. He saw their devotion for their towns, neighbors, and country. Kuralt believed true patriotism was living with compassion, not just waving a flag. He told about Montanan Gordon Bushnell, who dreamed big. Bushnell wanted a Duluth-Fargo highway, but the state wouldn't. So he took over. With a shovel, wheelbarrow, and old tractor, he built the road inch by inch. Bushnell, 78, had driven 11 miles of the roadway when Kuralt encountered him. Despite 180 kilometers left, he persisted. Because he thought it was right. Kuralt admired his dedication. Bushnell and others reminded him that America's strength was its character, not its might or wealth. His conviction in human goodness was great. Even as cynicism rose, he believed in the kindness of strangers. These days, the world feels very different from America. We wonder if kindness exists. Recent incidents, like the 2021 U.S. Capitol attack, suggest we may have lost something valuable. However, Kuralt's anecdotes suggest that kindness may still exist, just not in the spotlight. He often said that Americans have natural morality, even in hard times. They believe obstacles can be overcome. Kindness is crucial and individual gestures can help. Kuralt loved his nation because of this faith. He recounted sitting next to a recent college graduate on a plane. The young man complained about job hunting. Kuralt remained mute as he recalled his father's Great Depression difficulties to find a job tarring telephone poles, which took months. Kuralt realized something without telling the boy. Each generation believes they have it hardest, but they always grow. Kuralt saw America as full of independent, tenacious, and cheerful people. He believed humans could heal and restore damage. Americans' perseverance in improving things impressed him. Even when faced with overwhelming odds, they would brainstorm and act. And persist till change occurred. He said this spirit was highly appealing. When faced collectively, any issue could be surmounted, he believed. He believed that even a small group of brave people could fight injustice, protect the environment, or promote equality. He saw several examples. Regular folks who spoke out, stuck up for their convictions, and remained optimistic amid hard circumstances. Kuralt thought America was imperfect, but he believed decent people were attempting to help in tough situations. He believed in kindness, hard effort, and compassion. Roadside observers observed themselves, not just stories. The narrator told them that tiny communities and ordinary people were kind despite the noise. He spoke sincere, calming stories like gentle lights in a dark room. Although Charles Kuralt died in 1997, his legacy lives on in his favorite little roads. His lessons still reverberate when people show kindness, whether it's a neighbor helping out, a stranger smiling, or a community assisting someone in need. He taught us that America's essential nature is love and decency, not anarchy and animosity. He showed that simple gestures of kindness may be powerful. His perspective shows that generosity is constantly available, simply waiting to be appreciated. Kuralt thought we might be happier than we think. He may have been right. A country of kindness, compassion, and hope exists despite its troubles and differences. Charles Kuralt's secret existence. Charles Kuralt's prior secret surfaced in Virginia City, Montana. Kuralt, a famous TV storyteller, highlighted unexplored American regions. Kuralt remained a secret till his death, despite his friendliness and TV fame. Charles Kuralt led two lives for about 30 years. He appreciated small-town life and mingling with locals in America. He had a wife and a respectable New York City home. He had another home in Montana near a trout stream, where he loved and laughed with a woman who thought she was his equal in every way. Her name was Patricia Elizabeth Shannon. He didn't meet her randomly. In 1968, they met. Year of national division and exhaustion. She was 34, divorced, and a community activist mother of 3. Famous for his CBS show On the Road, he was 33 and traveled the country to find hope in unexpected places. He met her in Reno, Nevada, while covering a story. Shannon was developing a park in a rundown black neighborhood. The murders of Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy inspired the project. After meeting Shannon, Kuralt was impressed by her strength, friendliness, and optimism. After finishing his work, he invited her to dinner. With 36 roses, he expressed his thoughts. They spent the evening speaking in a small motel lounge, unaware that this would be the start of a lifelong relationship. Shannon did not hesitate to reveal that Kuralt was married. Kuralt felt free because his profession took him throughout the country. He created a life of his own to connect with Shannon while traveling. Kuralt contacted and visited Shannon and her children often, becoming a family member. He sent money and gifts. He attended birthdays, holidays, graduations, and everyday events. He listened to their stories, raised their kids, and cherished tranquil times. He lived a peaceful existence in Montana with rivers, trees, and the sky. His wife in New York thought he had a Montana fishing hideaway to escape his busy life. She didn't realize that sight was important to him. She thought it was merely a place for him to enjoy nature, but for him, like a second house with another family. Later court filings showed Kuralt gave Shannon almost $500,000 in their first decade together. Their love was strongest then. He supported her, helped her succeed, and encouraged her to pursue her own path. He bought her San Francisco homes. Despite its failure, he funded her modest business. He paid for her London landscaping studies. He funded her son JR's Arizona college and daughter Kathleen's law school. He made houses and fantasies for her. A $50,000 Irish cottage and a Montana lodge on 20 acres near to the Big Hole River were among the properties. They spent peaceful mornings and evenings in that gorgeous area, away from TV studios. He went beyond buying land. He bought an extra 90 acres next to their property, moved an old schoolhouse to a hill with a river view, and spent a lot of money refurbishing it into a nice office. This was gonna be his retirement writing retreat. A quiet location to unwind and live a simpler life like he envied others. Shannon's children considered Kuralt family, not simply a visitor. He taught Kathleen to drive and sign notes as Pop. He attended family holidays and made them feel safe and cherished. Secretive love stories typically reveal the truth. Kuralt ensured Shannon kept their Montana house before his death. She received $80,000 to buy the 20 acres they shared under his guise. He wanted her to keep the land even though he might not be there. Lupus, which had drained his vigor, worsened his health in June 1997. Despite being 62, he was weary. In a farewell letter to Shannon from the hospital, he asked her to inherit the remaining Montana land. His final commitment was written 2 weeks before his death on July 4, 1997. The truth about his secret life emerged after his death. He gave his Montana property to his wife in his 1994 will. Shannon was sad yet determined to sue. She stated his final letter to her indicated his true intent. Montana courts heard the matter. The land, schoolhouse, and river, which housed memories, were now evidence. Shannon wanted the property and recognition for their almost 30-year partnership. Kuralt was a nice reporter who explored America's backroads. However, those who knew his inner troubles found his life more relevant and complex. Journey of a young reporter. Charles Kuralt started his profession with enthusiasm and a desire to learn after graduating from UNC. At his first work, the Charlotte News, his storytelling skills stood out. He wrote Charles Kuralt's People, a column about everyday people. The column was popular and earned him the 1956 Ernie Pyle Award. The Young Reporters Award was an honor and the start of something great. A year later, in 1957, Kuralt became a CBS writer, a major career change. Many were drawn to his calming voice, contemplative words, and genuine interest in the world. He rapidly proved he was more than a writer by capturing human emotions and telling captivating stories. He became CBS News' youngest correspondent at 25 years old, demonstrating his extraordinary talents. Kuralt updated television. Eyewitness to History was his first hosting gig in 1960. This show offered viewers peace by sharing his passion of truth, storytelling, and serene presentation. He covered big national events like the 1960 presidential election with precision. Critics called him young, handsome, calm, and authoritative, praising his confidence and charisma. He was seen as a reporter who could fascinate viewers without being dramatic, speaking warmly and with credibility. CBS named Kuralt Latin America's top reporter in 1961. From Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, he visited 23 regional countries. Kuralt accepted the position, which required travel to risky and unfamiliar regions. He had to travel from major cities to remote villages to find stories that revealed political and social truths. His career changed in 1963 when he became the top West Coast correspondent. He worked on big stories in Los Angeles. After returning to Fresh York City, he returned to CBS News headquarters in 1964 to find fresh opportunities. Kuralt's experience in Vietnam stood out as he moved from place to city. From 1961, he served 4 wartime tours, some of the most dangerous and life-changing of his life. When he and his squad were ambushed while patrolling with Vietnamese Rangers, a routine mission rapidly turned chaotic. Unfortunately, half of their group died. Kuralt and his team nearly missed death, capturing the first combat film from that battle. He was deeply affected by this horrible and unforgettable experience. He also covered the Congolese Revolution, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo. He was terrified and doubtful of these difficult responsibilities. Kuralt remained cool and determined. He found compassion in even the worst situations and told stories about people's hardships, resilience, and optimism, not simply the conflict. Adventure drove Kuralt to a distant place in 1967. He spent 8 weeks with Ralph Pleisted on his first snowmobile trip to the North Pole with a CBS team. Extreme cold and snow made the trip memorable. The trip produced a documentary and book called To the Top of the World, highlighting the bravery and tenacity of individuals who explore the planet's frigid regions. Kuralt was unhappy despite his accomplishments. After the harsh and competitive world of hard journalism wore him down, he craved for the tranquil and soothing narrative that first drew him in. He became fatigued by the pressure to report first, outshine other journalists, and have the latest breaking news. His beloved journalism career had become an ego battleground. Kuralt missed the old days, when he could joyfully write about people and their lives and convey simple human truths. He cherished his time at the Charlotte News, where he could write a personal piece. He wanted to write friendly, curious, and kind stories again instead of conflict and rivalry. Even when covering major global events, Kuralt found the personal side. He regarded people, not just characters, as the center of the story, whether it was a soldier in Vietnam, a family in Latin America, or a North Pole explorer. Kuralt described how he went from a young reporter in North Carolina to a respected CBS correspondent. He found that his compassion, not his voice or celebrity, distinguished him. Charles Kuralt's Forever Road. Charles Kuralt was tired of covering war and strife and wanted something more simple and profound that represented his beloved nation. He wanted to avoid the tumult of current events and the stress of breaking news. Kuralt wanted peace and a story about life, not death. This ambition inspired an idea that changed his life and many Americans' views of their country. He presented his supervisor with an amazing idea. He proposed free travel without assignments. CBS gave him 3 months to explore this innovative TV journalism idea because of his personality and perseverance. He traveled the Great American Highway for 25 years with a small team and motorhome. The short tryout became one of American TV's most popular shows, On the Road. It began briefly on the 1967 CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite but became something extraordinary. Over the next 20 years, Kuralt traveled over 1 million miles on America's lesser-known roads to find overlooked stories. Straight roads didn't interest Kuralt. I was drawn to meandering roads, dusty lanes, and hidden paths to quietly wonderful lives. He traveled in 6 RVs, but the experience was invaluable. He discovered the appeal of little communities, the compassion of strangers, and the soul of a country frequently neglected in modern life. He met teachers, inventors, farmers, and visionaries. He listened to their stories, enjoyed their company, and told the nation. He focused on people, not fame or influence. His calmness turned each story into a poetic gem. According to Charles Kuralt, John Steinbeck's travels with Charlie impacted him. This makes sense as both guys loved traveling and meeting everyday people. Kuralt customized his journey by bringing television to distant locations and highlighting America's hidden beauty and tenacity. He won Peabody Awards, Emmys, and the George Polk Award for national television reporting throughout his career. However, his fans knew that his actual gratification came from finding happiness in every step. He made people feel connected and showed them that regular moments might be special. CBS revived On the Road with journalist Steve Hartman in 2011 after Kuralt died. Kuralt's legacy lives on in 2023 stories. Kuralt continued to tell stories after retiring. From January 28, 1979, he hosted CBS News Sunday Morning, a show that reflected his laid-back style. Like Kuralt, the program was slow and inviting. After that, he co-hosted CBS's weekday morning shows with Diane Sawyer. After retiring from weekday broadcasts in 1982, he led Sunday Morning for 15 years, making it a beloved show. He traveled widely for CBS, beyond American borders. As always, he reported on the Chinese Democratic Movement with empathy and detail in 1989. He anchored America Tonight from 1990 to 1991 before leaving Daily News. After a distinguished career, he retired as Sunday morning anchor on April 3, 1994. He astonished many by resigning at 60. His CBS News tenure was the longest, and viewers struggled to imagine the show without him. Kuralt was ready to slow down. Perhaps he wasn't done with stories, he said. An American moment was his 1997 radio episode after narrating the Revolutionary War for TLC in 1995. A 90-second look into American life. He also planned a cable show called I Remember, which would revisit major news events from the past. Kuralt has happy and sad personal times. He married his undergraduate love, Jean Sari Guthrie, in 1954 at the University of North Carolina. Susan and Lisa were their daughters. Their marriage ended in 1960. 2 years later, he married Suzanne Baird. In New York City, he continued his great career. Kuralt ignored diets and health norms. Rich food, cigarettes, and drink harmed him. He got arrested for DUI. He developed painful systemic lupus erythematosus later in life, weakening him. On July 4, 1997, 62-year-old Charles Kuralt died of cardiac failure in New York. He was buried at the University of North Carolina, where his storytelling passion began. 2 years later, Suzanne, his wife, was buried with him. A stunning personal life revelation emerged following his death. A secret was revealed as the world mourned the man who had given them so many happy memories. Kuralt was dating Montanan Patricia Shannon, a nice woman, for 30 years. He met her while covering a Reno, Nevada, article about a park she helped build for her town. Despite keeping their relationship private, it got stronger over time. Kuralt helped Patricia in many ways. He helped her raise her 3 children and paid for her Inchball School of Design schooling. While others called them friends, they had a deeper relationship. His property was questioned after his death. Patricia said he promised her a peaceful and cherished property near Twin Bridges, Montana. His relatives challenged the assertion, but Montana's highest court sided with her. Understanding her significance to him.